situation like this. And a swing and a fly ball to left field. Back goes Arozarena. She's gone!
Welcome to episode 1784 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Blue Sky Agency, the official distributor of Silence quiet, comfortable, and customizable office pods. Create sanctuary within your workspace. Nick Iones, he's the host of Building Toronto Skyline and Building Success, two podcasts you ought to listen to. Kindling. Go to shopkindling.ca for free 1-hour cannabis delivery. Recyclemyelectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, returning to Toronto Mic'd. His timing is impeccable. It's Arash Madani. How are you, Arash?
I'm doing well. For the record, we planned this, 6 weeks ago or something like that? So this is not just the Jays are going to the World Series for the first time in 30 years and we're doing this.
You know, it's funny how that happens. I feel like it's happened in the past where you book a guest. Okay, I think this is a crazy example, but Stu Stone was booked to return after many months. Stu Stone, by the way, I
just spoke with Stu Stone this morning.
Can I guess why?
Sure.
Bodog.
Yes.
So what are you doing for Bodog? And then we'll get back to...
Well, this morning we have a weekly show. I host but it's Flutie versus Stiegel. So Doug Flutie, Milt Stiegel, myself, we talk NFL. It's a weekly NFL show on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Shameless plug. We are the fastest growing football podcast in North America. I saw like 2 or 3 weeks ago on YouTube, it was like over 107,000 views. So
that's a lot of views.
That's a lot of views. So that's why I was talking with Stu Stone. So yeah, it's again Apple, Spotify, YouTube.
There's my Doug Flutie bobblehead.
There it is, an Argos one.
Yeah.
Not a Stamps.
No.
Not a Lions. Not a Bills.
Not a Chargers.
Not a Chargers. Not a Patriots.
No Flutie Flakes here. So you and Stu Stone are now crossing paths thanks to your work with Bodog.
Yeah, and just talking football, and Stu's a big Jays fan. He was actually at the game yesterday. So.
Well, you know who he's BFFs with?
Who's that?
Mr. Atkins.
Ross. How'd that come to be? I
believe this is how it goes. I think Ross Atkins is a neighbor of Stu Stone's brother-in-law and business partner, Adam Rodinus.
Okay.
And I think that's how they became good, fast friends. I went to a movie premiere for a Stu Stone movie once, and there was Ross sitting right in front of me. So
no kidding.
So I was shocked not to see Stu Stone on the field last night.
With a hat on and a t-shirt?
So did you only meet Stu Stone through the Bodog deal?
Yes. That's how we got connected. And then I mean, this is going... Okay, so Stu's also involved with Dark Side of the Ring, and I haven't really watched wrestling. I was at the Montreal Screwjob as a first-year university student when I was at Bishop's. I sat in, like, either the home bench or the visitor's bench at then the Molson Center.
Wow.
And then after that, I really stopped following it, but Dark Side's right up my alley because it's a lot of the, prior to that, I was totally into it. So we've talked about that a little bit. He was actually in Charlotte a week or two ago, and he sent me some BTS, some behind the scenes of his shoot with Arn
K-pop news? Okay, because BTS now, I say BTS myself, back behind the scenes, and people think I'm talking about the K-pop band.
Nah, he was with Arn Anderson. Okay. So...
I don't even. I'm not sure I know that name, but I did have a.
He's one of the Four Horsemen.
Okay, see, and that's not WWF though, from 1984 to 1988. So I missed that one here. Hey, speaking of WWF, because a man I know, and I think you know him as well, of course, does a very good Randy Macho Man Savage imitation. He texted me this morning to say, "Tell Arash that of all of his accomplishments, being the keeper of the beads is his greatest achievement." You want to guess who sent me that text?
Scotty Mack. Is that Scott MacArthur chiming in? The beads can only be Scotty Mack.
That was Scotty Mack.
You know what the beads story is?
No, tell me.
So 2005, the PR director for the Ottawa Renegades, the now defunct RIP CFL franchise in Ottawa, the second of 3 renditions they've had there. And Lonnie Gleiberman was the president, co-owner, minority owner, whatever. And he decided to sell tickets. They're going to have a Mardi Gras promotion. And the woman who left the stadium with the most beads would get $1,000. Wow. And that was you. And as the media relations director, I had to wear it, own it, be the face of it, be the spokesperson for it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you, Lonnie.
So, and thank you, Scotty Mack, for that story. So back to the timing. Okay, we got distracted by Stu Stone because Stu is in the FOTM Hall of Fame, Arash.
Oh, he is.
That's an esteemed, that's rarefied air. One day, Arash, you're going to have to step up your game because do you want to guess the last time you were in the basement for an episode of Toronto Mike?
Shoot, I'd say 10, 12 years ago, maybe.
Good guess. Almost 10 years ago. It was December 2015. And I'll read the description now if people want to go back. It was episode 148. Mike chats with Sportsnet reporter. We're going to have to talk about that, Arash.
Sure.
Sportsnet reporter Arash Madani about the many sporting events he's covered, including the Olympics, Super Bowl, World Series, Masters, U.S. Open Tennis, Stanley Cup, NBA Finals, Grey Cup, and one frightening day in Honduras.
Yes.
We also talk about the waning popularity of the CFL in Toronto, perceived bias by Rogers reporters covering the Blue Jays, Stephen Brunt, and the future of Bob McCowan. And that episode was about 81 minutes. Why did it take almost a decade for you to make your Toronto Mike return?
That's a very good question. You know what's interesting about that? So that's December of 2015.
Right.
2 months, less than 2 months after the bat flip. And here we are the day after the top 3 home run in Blue Jays history.
So I think you're going to say number 1 is Joe Carter. So what do you have at number 2?
Alomar.
Okay, sometimes people put Ed Sprague up there.
Yeah, no, I even put like Alomar as maybe even 1. Because you had to walk before you run. Alomar, the index fingers up to the sky in Oakland in the shadows. Off Eckersley. That was when the Blue Jays arrived. And until that moment, they were just the franchise that was knocking on the door. What's amazing about the Springer home run last night is the bat flip. The bat flip that for a decade has been like the moment in Blue Jays, in Toronto sports. Like it's the bat flip and the crouch. It's Kawhi in the corner. It's Jose with the bat flip. It's immortalized with this mural in downtown Toronto. Suddenly, Joey Bats, who was in the house last night, by the way, suddenly Jose Bautista's bat flip is no longer on the medal podium of top 3 home runs in Blue Jays history.
No, great point. I do want to talk about what happened last night because I actually found, so Rash, this is interesting. I think this is interesting. I found myself waking up periodically during the night and I could see the home run and I had this weird, like it would wake, I don't know, I had like almost like Springer Dinger fever dreams last night. Like this moment, I know. And by the way, I took the regular season off, okay? I only started watching this team in the playoffs. That was a personal, personal thing I decided to do this year. I think I found a life hack there, but that might be a longer conversation.
Sure.
But this game last night...
You do look more fit.
I decided to bike instead of watching the Jays.
You look happier, yeah.
I've never been happier. But I came on for the playoffs, and I don't even feel like I missed anything. Like I feel like I know this team after this long a run. And that moment, George Springer hitting the 3-1 blast to put us up last night in the 7th inning, it was so absolutely wonderful. It's like a reminder of why we love sports, right? Tell me from your perspective, what was that moment like for you watching it? And can the Blue Jays beat the Dodgers in the World Series?
Here's what's interesting. If you were to say to me, Feb 20, March 20, April 20th, May 20th, June 20th. The Blue Jays are going to the World Series. I look at you and be like, what are you talking about?
What are you smoking?
Right. And then Canada Day, they hit, they're just on fire. And then towards the end of the season, it almost felt like they kind of hit that wall and it was all falling apart. They regroup. They beat the Yankees, and then, all right, Seattle rolls around. They lose the first two at home. You're saying to yourself, I've seen this script before.
Right.
Hey, it was a hell of a run, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So you didn't think it was going to happen February 20th, March 20th, April 20th, May 20th, June 20th, and then October 20th, Game 7. In the 6th inning, you're watching this game, and they go Kirby to Wu, and the Jays have one run on the board, and they're not generating much offense in the 6th inning. You're like, oh, well, it was a heck of a year, and they got this far, and you know what's coming in the Mariners bullpen, and the bats just aren't alive tonight. And you think about the previous Springer at bat. This is what's so amazing about these things. The home run will be immortalized. George Springer is now in Toronto lore with the greats to ever do it, et cetera, et cetera. And understandably so, and deservedly so. Mm-hmm. The at-bat prior may have been the worst at-bat of his Major League Baseball career, without hyperbole.
Right.
The swings were bad. The knee looked off. He's chasing. He's reaching. And you're like, yeah, it's a long run that started in February, and here we are almost at Halloween, and George's knee isn't right, and this is it. And then with one swing and one moment against a guy who'd been throwing the ball really well for Seattle, it all changed. And it's amazing how sports works.
I still can't believe it happened. Like, I watched it, I witnessed it, I celebrated, but I still can't believe the Blue Jays are going to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's in 92 and 93, we expected to go to the World Series. What a team. Expectations were high in spring training that this was going to be a World Series competitive team. But like you just alluded to, this particular team, when I was chatting with Keegan Matheson about it here in whenever that was, April or whatever, I would have bet a lot of money on the fact this team doesn't even make the playoffs, let alone actually win a playoff game, let alone a round, let alone win the ALCS, win the American League pennant, and go to the World Series. I did not see this coming.
Well, because no team has a 20-win swing.
Yeah.
With basically the same roster.
Right.
So much of the month of July was just madness and bonkers. These are things you don't see. And then in the construct of just this best of 7, like in the CS, you're down 2-0. Right. You lose both at home. Right. Then you come back home and you're down 3-2. Like, you were never leading in the series officially until the 7th inning of Game 7.
Right.
It's incredible. And I tell you this, I want to go very micro here. Talking about the lens of a season. After the Game 5 debacle with Brandon Little, what became crystal clear is that the Blue Jays weren't fucking around after that. Right? Game 6 in the exact same spot in the Mariners lineup, in the exact same situation, the exact same inning. No. Jeff Hoffman for 6 outs.
Right.
And then last night, what did you see from the jump? Shane Bieber, who they went and got at the deadline. Louis Varland, who they brought over from a trade to get the 1 out. That was the key in the 4th in that situation. Yeah, he gave up the home run after. Gosman, who's their ace. And yeah, he had a couple of walks and they gave a free pass to another. Right. Bassett, who's their number 2 starter. And then to Hoffman, their $39 million closer to finish it off. There's no more being cute. There's no more bullshit. There's no more fucking around. We are getting to the finish line the way it needs to be. And that was the method to the madness.
In an alternate universe where we don't win this series in 7 games, that Game 5 decision, we'd be talking about that right now. Like, I feel like winning this series,
because the series should have been over in 6.
Right. Like, I feel like that decision and what happened in Game 5, we will now forgive that, of course, because we won this series. But we lose this series in 6 or 7, and that Game 5 decision is still, like, that's going to be what we talk about all winter long.
You know what else it's done? And this will be part of the story now.
Right.
But because of the drama, because we all love home runs, because it's George Springer, because of what he is, what he's meant, what he did before he got to Toronto, etc.
Sure.
It almost feels like Max Scherzer sending John Schneider back to the dugout with his eyes. Right. It feels like that's like
Mad Max.
That's like chapter 11.
Yeah.
Instead of the face of the series, instead of the face of this kind of run. So it's wild.
And I got to get back to the timing because the great Brian Gerstein is on the live stream and he makes an interesting observation here. But even the fact that George Springer had basically that regular, and again, I caught it incidentally. Like, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm in a big FOTM chat where they literally celebrate Springer dingers if it's a Tuesday night in May. Okay, so it's like
And you weren't watching.
I tuned into my first game that last weekend when I wanted to see us clinch that. I fucking hate the Yankees, and I wanted to see the Jays hold on and clinch the American League East. And I tuned in for a couple of games on the weekend, and that was the first time I put on Sportsnet since. But since the Oilers were in the Stanley Cup final and I was catching some stuff there, which I probably was watching on CBC anyways. But same difference. We'll talk about that. But the fact that Springer had this kind of season and was even the fact that Springer was the Springer of old, like I watched last season. I thought he was done. Like I thought Springer had aged out and had a bad season. I don't know, 35 or something. Like that's an old man, Arash. Okay, I felt like he was done.
If you said to me, Feb 20, March 20, March 31, they're going to DFA George Springer, I'd be like,
that makes sense.
That makes sense,
right?
I'm not saying it's going to happen,
right?
But there's just as good a chance they do,
right,
as they don't.
If we can upset, and I don't have the difference in payroll in front of me, except I understand the Jays have a good payroll,
very healthy,
top 5, I think
it is.
The Dodgers are number 1 with a bullet, and we could do this. So, we're the underdogs, and I kind of like that position for the Jays. I feel like we've been underdogs all season. And if we could pull off this upset, this is totally different than 92-93. Like I said, this is a team we didn't give any hope to, and here they are, and they became a very likable team. Like, say what you will about management, or say what you will about ownership. I got lots to say about that. We're going to get into that. But what a likable team. Every player on this team is likable. And you can't, the fact that in the same year, the president of the United States threatened to annex our sovereign nation and make us the 51st state. To see a Canadian team win the World Series, that sounds like music to my ears.
It's so different from 92-93 because for a lot of reasons, but mainly it felt for a while those Blue Jays teams were knocking on the door. And they just couldn't break through. This is a Blue Jay team that in 22 bombed out in the wild card round. In 23 did whatever they did in Minneapolis in the wild card round. In 24 came nowhere near the postseason. So it's not quite out of nowhere, but it's damn close.
We didn't knock. We just barged right in. We just Addison bargered our way right into that
in the summer. Like, in what,
right.
April didn't go well.
Right.
In May and June, their ace was struggling. Like, Eric Lauer was the one keeping the season alive, literally. Like, Bowden Francis was supposed to be an important part of this rotation. At the end of the season, Jose Barrios done now. We're not going to see him again. Like, there's never a linear path to any of this. Not to a division title, not to a pennant. And the Blue Jays have shown that this year. And look, Max Scherzer, who's the real, like, one of the heroes of this championship series, it felt like he was on the injured list as much as he was on the active roster this year. It just, like, and we haven't even touched on Treya Savage yet, this unicorn falling from the sky.
Right.
So it's just incredible how it all has really come together.
One last, we could spend our whole hour talking about how incredible it is that we're going to be playing a World Series game on Friday night. I do want to catch up with you, Arash Madani, but it is interesting. We did this playoff run without Bo Bichette. Like it's an interesting side note that, your best pure hitter on who had another bounce back year, because he didn't look so hot last year either, and he had the injury, and I don't know if he's in the right headspace at times, but this season he had a great season, and he had to watch this playoff run. It'll be interesting to see him if he gets into some World Series games.
Yeah, will they activate him? Hasn't played a game since September the 6th.
Right.
So at best, if you do activate him, he's a DH and DH only, which then you wonder what's where's Springer and his health, et cetera. Because Bo can't play the infield right now. Like, you can't go 7 weeks, change of direction, twisting, turning, all those kinds of things. So yeah.
So stay tuned, Arash Madani. Okay, we got to catch up with you because I was just reading what Brian Gerstein was writing on the live stream, and we talked off the top about the timing. So we booked this visit, and I don't think either of us thought in our minds, this will be the morning after the big Game 7 win, right? In the ALCS. I wasn't in that mindset anyway. I don't think you were either. And then...
let me bring up the day we booked this.
You bring that up.
Because you hit me up out of the blue.
Well, I kept seeing you in the neighborhood.
That's right.
Like, it's almost like torture. It's like, this guy could walk over.
October 5th.
So October 5th. Okay.
Hi, Arash. It's been too long. I would love to have you over to my home studio at 92.8.
Oh, your dog see me there. Okay. Somewhere. Okay. But let me read the...
but no, this is where you got me. Not only will we have a great conversation, but if you visit in person, you'll leave with free craft beer and lasagna.
Did you get any... When you came here 10 years ago, did I give you anything?
Nothing.
Wow. Okay.
Then I heard everybody comes here and gets beer, and I'm like, where's my beer?
And you're a Great Lakes fan, right?
I am. It is my home.
Because you own the hoodie. Like, this is a different... It's not Arash's hoodie that I'm wearing here today. That would be kind of weird. But you own a Great Lakes beer hoodie. I
do.
So you're a real fan. They brew it here in South Etobicoke, and you know that.
Yes. The my favorite one is they have a New England IPA that only has a couple of drops a year. But my go-to is the Burst, because the hoodie you're wearing, the octopus likes to fight. That octopus likes to fight.
I have the same problem if octopus wants to fight. I can't do two. I can do one, but if I do two, bang, bang, it's like, no. But the Burst, and what I like during the summer is the Sunnyside Session IPA, but of course that's a seasonal brew. They don't have anymore. But the Burst is year-round. So I have for you, Arash Madani, some fresh craft beer from Great Lakes.
I appreciate you.
And I have a lasagna. It was delivered by Palma Pasta. And I just want to tell you, Arash, and everyone listening, that we listeners of the program, we FOTMs, it's weird to call myself an FOTM because I'm a friend of myself, but on November 29, which is the last Saturday in November, we're all going to collect at Palma's Kitchen in Mississauga at noon for a live recording. If you drop by, Arash, you get a free meal from Palma Pasta. I'll bring fresh craft beer from GLB.
What was the day?
29 at noon, November.
I'll put it in the calendar with
Put it in the calendar because I think I've invited you to several TMLX events, including many that have been held at Great Lakes Brewery. I'm not sure.
October 29th or November 29th?
November.
November 29th.
November 29th.
I'll put it in the calendar.
Put it in the calendar. So if you showed up.
Saturday.
Yeah, so it's a Saturday. But if you show up, Palma Pasta, they have Palma Pasta, popping a few peas here. They have a hot table there. They'll feed you. Your meal is courtesy of Palma Pasta. I'll bring the beer. We'll do a live recording. You pop on the mic and you can say happy holidays or just tell everybody what's going on. It would be amazing if Arash Madani showed up at TMLX 21. That is TMLX 21.
It's funny, just yesterday, my buddy Kyle Smith texted me and he said, "Are we going to Georgia Tech on November 29th. So if I'm not in Georgia, I'll consider Palmas.
So you will go for pleasure. You'll visit the United States
for sports.
Okay. So you have a sports exception there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Hey Ref wants to see you at TMLX 21. So tell your buddy you're otherwise occupied. Okay. So just to put a bow on this timing thing, I've teased for the last half an hour. I had Leo Rowden scheduled to visit, and it ended up being the morning after. Oh, I see. Brian remembers it as the morning after the Raps beat Philadelphia. I actually remember it as the morning after the Raps beat the Bucks in double overtime, Game 3.
Okay.
So we lost those first two games.
Sounds familiar.
And we went to overtime, and it was, if you go down 3-0 in an NBA series, good night, Irene. But we, Kawhi carried us. We did it. We won in double overtime. I remember that being an epic game. And the very next morning, I was actually recording with Hebsy on Sports.
Sure.
And then Leo Rowdens was here for a chat, and the timing was impeccable. This timing is also impeccable. But I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I like it when you call me sir. Keep that up.
Okay, no problem.
The first question comes from another Mike. It's not me, but he goes, I will assume you'll ask the obvious. And he puts in quotes, what happened at Sportsnet? But I'd like to know why he was put off the Blue Jays beat about a year or so before that. So, Arash, if you're comfortable,
Sure.
You were on these Sportsnet Blue Jays telecasts.
Yeah.
And then you weren't.
And then I wasn't. Yeah, so they made a change, and you're just kind of told, and that's fine. Like, that's the way the industry goes. That's the way the business goes. And kind of coming up, and I kind of looked at the schedule in 23, 24. The way it was kind of presented is you're going to be a generalist who's going to do a bunch of things for us. And I'll be honest, 2023 and 2024 were two of my favorite years career-wise in the industry. In 2023, myself and camera operator Mario Fontana, we were sent to Jakarta, Indonesia, and Manila, Philippines for the FIBA World Cup.
Wow.
Spent a month there from like late August to mid-September. Canada qualifying for the Olympics in men's basketball for the first time since Steve Nash and company did it, literally with a courtside seat for Shea and all those guys doing what they were doing.
Right.
That's August and September. I had just done the National Bank Open courtside before that. Get home in November. One of my true thrills, you talk about out of nowhere, Canada wins the Billie Jean King Cup, World Championship of Women's Tennis. Fortunate enough to be on the play-by-play of that. And kind of on it went. And you pitch things, and they said I did World Baseball Classic in 2023. I went to the Final Four for basketball with Zach Edey and Purdue in 24. Did the Paris Olympics. We did a number of Olympic features. We went to the President's Cup. I get to go to the Grey Cup every year. Like all these things, Super Bowls, NBA Finals both years. Jamal winning it with Denver, Jamal Murray winning it with Denver in 23, and then the Celtics kind of just dominating in 24. So I was getting to do so many different things, and then you're kind of going, and then it just abruptly comes to a stop. You're told that's it, we're done, and that's it. I remember being at Real Sports years ago after a Raptors game. And Jack Armstrong, holding court, and he said, "This is how sports TV in Canada goes. You're doing great. You're doing great. This is what you're told. You're doing great. You're doing great. Right. You're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing great. You're fired. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast. And you see it all over the place.
Yeah.
And you become immune to it until it happens to you. And my name came up in March of this year, and that was that." I don't have this, crazy fire and brimstone story. Like, that's just kind of how it was, how it is, how it all played out.
As you know, I talked to many media personalities in this very basement, and many extremely talented broadcasters like yourself were given the tap on the shoulder for no particular reason. Sometimes typically it's cost cutting, but it could be a variety of reasons, whatever. But it's funny we mentioned Leo Rowdens. Like shortly thereafter, Leo got the tap on the shoulder by Sportsnet. I know he still does TSN work, but he was the guy alongside Matty Devlin for Sportsnet Raptor telecasts for a long time. And
prior to that, Chuck Swirsky. He and Chuck were on the broadcast forever, yeah.
And Chuck, we should shout him out. Is it right? He inspired the Bears skit, the Swirsky Bears skit.
I don't know.
I think he had a show on Chicago radio before he came here, and I feel like the Bears skit, like the Swirsky, was named after him.
There you go.
Maybe the late great George Wendt character. Okay, so many a great Sportsnet broadcaster, but and even now that we've been talking a lot about 2015 and 2016, which was like what we all went to before this season when you're a Blue Jay fan, because that was the last time it was fun to be a Blue Jay fan. And Barry Davis is all over those dressing rooms with champagne in his eyes. And, we like our team Barry. And Barry got a tap on the shoulder. Your services are no longer required. So there's two things here. One is, Arash, we're taking you off the Blue Jays broadcast. But as you just said, that opened you up to do a whole bunch of other stuff. And maybe the best, maybe a highlight of your career was being able to be a generalist and do all that amazing work.
Yeah. And I think, and this is not believe me, this is not a Sportsnet thing. This is not a TSN thing. I'm somebody who follows the industry just like you do, Mike. And
Right.
you follow trends, you follow what's happening everywhere. I just think the days of the generalist are gone. I think, excuse me, I think it's now come to networks on both sides of the border. I can't speak for Europe, I don't know, or Asia. But on both sides of the border, you cover the properties that you are the rights holder to.
Right.
And that's it. Really effectively, for the most part. Now, there might be one-offs here and there, et cetera, et cetera. And I just think that that's the reality of how networks are doing business now. And, like I want to say this, like I got 16 years there. Like I'm very, very fortunate. I've traveled the world. I've done multiple Olympics and Super Bowls and NBA Finals and World Series and Stanley Cup Final and Hockey Night in Canada and then Blue Jays sidelines and on it goes, sitting with Bob McCowan on Friday afternoons at the round table. But I think I've had a lot of time to think the last 7 months. Right. You think back to some of like the heyday of things you were doing. I was thinking the other day of 2017. I did the entire MLB postseason. From there it ended on a Wednesday, flew home Thursday, hosted with Bob on Friday. The next week off to Italy to do tennis. While we're in Italy doing tennis, the boss calls and says, "Hey, when do you fly home?" "Tomorrow." "You want to stick around a couple extra days?" Italy is playing Sweden at the San Siro in Milan in a World Cup soccer qualifier. If they don't win by 2 or more goals, they're not going to qualify for the World Cup for the first time in like 60 years. Mike, I'm standing behind the net at the San Siro in Milan.
No, that's a good gig if you can get that.
Right. That's on a Tuesday. Fly home Wednesday. Thursday, fly to Wolfville, Nova Scotia. From the San Siro to Raymond Field, you do a U Sports Bowl game on Saturday, and on Sunday you fly to wherever for the Grey Cup. You spend the week covering Grey Cup. Like, that's an amazing run, and it's not that I just know this won't exist anymore. And everybody I've spoken with, and I've spoken with a lot of people
right.
on both sides of the border the last 7 months trying to get a sense of everything, they're like, dude, you're the last one. This just doesn't happen anymore. And these are like people in the States, etc. It's
right.
not just a Canadian thing. This is just how the whole thing goes.
Yeah, I think of somebody, I'm thinking of Stephen Brunt right now, where he was a bit of a generalist, right? And then at some point, Stephen Brunt parted ways with Sportsnet, and he's running his own shop. So, okay, so your quote on X, by the way, do you still post on X? So I
do.
And what's the handle? Arash Madani?
Arash Madani, yeah.
Okay. No judgments here. I wish you were also in other places that we could follow those posts, but I know X is still where it's at for what you're doing. But Arash Madani, you posted on X, "After 16 incredible years, my time at Sportsnet has come to an end, and honestly, what a thrilling ride." That was March 2025. So would you mind, how much would you share with us about like processing that, and then, what's next for you, and et cetera, et cetera?
I'll be like, the processing is honestly ongoing. I'll be honest, like, because there are certain times, here we are, 7 months later?
Yeah, 7 months later.
And I'll tell you why it's weird, Mike, because there are things that happen. You're like, man, I'd love to do a story on this, or man, I'd love to do a feature on this, or you're watching it and it's like, wait a minute, like, these are all my former colleagues and people I worked with. And, when Oklahoma City gets to play Indiana in the NBA championship, and it's Shea and it's Lou and it's Matherin and Nembhard and Siakam, you're just like, these are the things that I would be at. So, it's I enjoyed the gig I had there immensely. I enjoy storytelling and interviewing and reporting, and there aren't a lot of places to do it, but I've been fortunate since. I mentioned Flutie versus Stiegel. It's weekly NFL show on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. I've just teamed up with CBC Sports. We've launched a weekly show through the end of next month called The U. It's about U Sports, university sports in Canada. I'm their U Sports football kind of reporter, and going to be doing a lot of football coverage on university sports, which is near and dear to me through the end of the Vanier Cup. I'll call one of the national bowl games. I'll be on the sidelines for the Vanier Cup. Mark Lee's going to call it. Wow. So getting a chance to be with CBC. So very pleased about that, and like lining some stuff up for next year. You know, it's a busy year on the calendar. You got the Olympics, you got the World Cup, you got the World Baseball Classic, you got sports. You move forward, but it's not every day, but it's on nights like last night, Game 7. You're like, man, how cool would it be to be able to cover that here in the city that you live in, and tell it through a lens with a lot of kind of historical significance to it.
Well, I wondered, so I knew you were going to visit this morning, and I thought, I don't know if the Jays are going to win Game 7 or lose Game 7. Whatever happens, we'll talk about it. But then I wondered, do you have any, because you're only 7 months out, do you have any, I don't know, I want to call it almost like FOMO, but like you got Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Hazel May, Jamie Campbell, but these were your colleagues.
Joe Siddle. Yeah.
Joe Siddle, of course. And everyone I mentioned there, by the way, except for Buck, has been in the basement. So
there you go.
I got to work on Buck. I got to get Buck over here. Buck's son went to my primary school.
No kidding.
That's my only link. He was younger than me, but Buck's son, and Rance Mullenix's son also went to my primary school.
Shulman's been down here, huh?
Yep, a couple times.
Awesome.
Multiple times. Dan Shulman was great. Hazel May came over with Kevin Barker, and she said, I only have 30 minutes. And I said, okay, I'll take 30 minutes with Hazel over no time with Hazel. Yep. And Jamie Campbell's been over multiple times, too. He was actually rather amazing on this.
Great.
They were all great, but they got to get Buck down here. But so any part of you like just feel a sense of like, I don't know, melancholy and infinite sadness over not being a part of this run?
It's not about the run. Just you like being around, like a number of people before I got sent out by Sportsnet have referred to me as a drug addict. I said, oh, okay, that's a new one. I'm like, what do you mean by it? They said, you love the adrenaline of being at a big live event. You enjoy the adrenaline of chasing a story. You enjoy the adrenaline of breaking a story. I'm like, yeah, guilty as charged. Like, that's what gets you out of bed in the morning. Like, there is nothing like being courtside, pitch side, rink side, you name it. When there's 45,000 people going nuts and you're getting ready to do a show, you've put in so much preparation, your stories, and like, let's see how this thing all unfolds. So, it's not necessarily the Jays this or the Jays that or whatever. It's more you just miss being in the mix. Like, this is what I've always wanted to do, Mike, and I was very fortunate to do it at one place for 16 years. Not a lot of people get that opportunity. And now it's about finding the next one that hopefully can take me to places like the Olympics and the World Cup and wherever else down the road, and we'll just see how that all unfolds. Okay, so in the interim here, we have a couple of things going on. You're doing some work with CBC, you told us about. You're doing some work with Bodog, so you got a couple of things going on 7 months later, and you're taking a lot of meetings, I'm going to guess. A lot of meetings, a lot of coffees, a lot of Zooms, a lot of calendar invites that have to get rescheduled at the last minute, and that's all part of it. Right. I'll tell you this, a few things. One, I've had more meetings with people that I never thought I'd get in front of, and it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't a free agent. And it's amazing how many people, I'm so lucky and fortunate to have so many people who continue to answer my calls, continue to connect me with people in their network, and continue to say, how can I help? And I have a lot of gratitude to a lot of people who are willing to do that because they don't need to. And that's gotten me in front of a lot of people. Some are extended conversations, some are short conversations, some are everything in between. But that's been a really neat part of this, because when you're in it, you're You're going like you want to do it at a high level. You want to be as great as you can at whatever it is you're doing. You're spending your time sourcing and interviewing and talking and pitching and planning and now that you have some time, you're just trying to meet with as many. Hey, how do you guys do things over there? What's happening? How do you foresee this? Have you thought about that? What's the plan for this? And it's gotten me to have some neat conversations with some neat people, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Well, I'm glad to hear this, and I think you're very talented. You mentioned the 16-year run. You're bigger than a Sportsnet property, if you will. Like there's an Arash Madani beyond the giant cable company here. You're just looking for a place to happen.
Yeah, and probably places. And I think this is another thing that has probably changed since you and I first visited down here 10 years ago, and as the industry has evolved. I'm not sure how many air quote landing spots there are full-time anymore in sports media. I don't know. What I do think, though, is, okay, and I'm just using these as examples,
right?
Just because they're coming up next year and we've talked about them. Hey, the World Baseball Classic's coming up. We're going to need somebody for like 2-3 weeks. Hey, the Olympics are rolling around. That's going to be a 3-week gig. Hey, the World Cup's coming. That's going to be a 6-week gig. Yeah. Hey, National Bank Open Tennis. There's 2 weeks there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you kind of add them all up and you just kind of hope that it's all going to work. Maybe, maybe not. Hey, we're going to have a package of, I don't know, 10 baseball games here, or 15 hockey games there, or 20 basketball games there. Could that all work? So we'll see how it all unfolds. And if there's anything we've learned, things change and things change quickly. So we'll just see how it all kind of, how it all unfolds.
Well, we'll be following along. And if anything super exciting comes together, you waltz over here and get another palma pasta lasagna, and you get another.
So your face scrunched at the mention of X or Twitter. So are you a Blue Sky guy?
Yeah, I'm a Blue Sky guy. Which was it? Supriya Dwivedi came over and said it's basically former like their Twitter refugees have all collected on Blue Sky. So a former colleague of yours, Mike Wilner, came on this program just right after you.
How's Webster doing?
He's covering the Blue Jays for the Toronto Star.
Yes.
And I think he's enjoying his life. He's got a Toronto Star podcast, and you'll read him in the dead trees there and online. So he's doing well. He came over fairly recently, and he basically said to me this. Okay, so this is April. I had already soured on X when Elon took over,
right? And
it had stopped. I loved it since like 2009 or whenever I joined Twitter. I absolutely loved, yesterday would have been a good example of, I'd be online, I'd be on Twitter, and there'd be a collective, like you'd be sharing this experience, and it felt really fun and great. This is what happened with the bat flip, for example. But now it doesn't feel like that. It feels, it doesn't have a good feeling associated with it. And Wilner just came over and he said this. I'll tell you exactly what he said to me. This was April 2025. He goes, Mike, let's say there's a local pub you like going to drink your Great Lakes. And I go, yeah, okay. He goes, let's say the owner was a Nazi, okay? And would you go to that pub or would you find a new pub? And he said it like that. And then I posted my final ever post on X was that day, April 2025. And I don't check it anymore. I don't look back. A lot of people I used to follow have gone to Blue Sky. Some have stayed on X like yourself. And no judgments here, but I just simply, whenever I have to log in for Humble and Fred, for example, because they have an account I maintain on X, it's not a good feeling. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of anger, a lot of bots.
Vitriol. There's a lot of vitriol on there. There's no question.
But I'm not even sure anymore. Like, are these bots? Because there's been a lot of evidence that these are just people, rage farmers, literally there to so you'll post something, I don't know, something about how Springer Dinger, can you believe it or something? And then somebody will come in and say something absolutely horrific or negative or mean or, and so there's a lot of bots. And then if you're not a bot, you might be Marty York.
So I'm just going to let that one slide.
Oh, I was hoping for, okay, that's fine.
There's also everyone's lost their chill on Twitter, I find.
Rage farmers. I feel like people love being enraged. And sometimes I just want to post, here's a bike TO photo and, let's go Jays in the 7th or whatever. This happened, or just share this piece of news with your, a little commentary on it. But it's just an angry place, and I don't like that feeling, so I don't go there. I realize I don't have to go there.
Fair. And a lot of people come at what I've noticed is people come just like whoosh, like with their biggest uppercut on nothing,
right?
Based on nothing. And there's a lot of angry people out there whose vitriol quickly turns vile, quickly turns dark, quickly turns racist for like no reason, dude. Like, this is sports.
Yep. Yeah.
Chill the fuck out.
I know.
Right? Like, come on, man. Like, it just.
But you're there, but you're probably, I know why, I understand why you're there. You want to have engagements. I know Bodog's a part of this too, and you want to get engagements because that's what you're being paid to do. And X is still the place for that as far as you're concerned. I realized it, again, I don't have anyone helping to finance that, like a Bodog or whatever, but so I don't have to be there. But I just realized that the benefits we used to have from having a presence and engagements on the app formerly known as Twitter were no longer there, but there was a whole separate angry, hateful, racist, misogynist...
But it's not all things. You can't paint everything with one big brush. It's not one or the other. There's a little bit of everything out there. I don't care what platform you're on.
Except it seems to be nurtured and encouraged on that platform.
Maybe.
And I think that's a reflection of its ownership, which destabilizing the biggest social media site we have.
I've gone down some Reddit things that are also kind of weird too.
Sure. Well, humanity is weird, as we're learning.
Look, I'm much more active on LinkedIn, which is a completely different platform, and I feel like everybody there is living on Pluto. Like, it's just
we call them LinkedIn lunatics,
right? Caring and sharing and greatness, and so.
Well, I'm gonna tag you on LinkedIn when I post this episode, and I have some more questions for you from listeners.
Yes,
but I am going to give some love, if you don't mind, for a moment, Arash. Here, are you looking for breaking news? There, I see you on the phone. There, are we looking for?
No, I just went to LinkedIn to try and find something, but I'm like, there's no.
LinkedIn lunatics.
Lunatics.
Shout out to Elvis. I also post on LinkedIn. I won't edit this, so we'll wrap this and I'll drop it and I'll post it on Blue Sky. I'll post it on Instagram. Are you there? Instagram?
I am.
Okay, so Blue Sky, Instagram. I'll tag you on Instagram. I'll post it on LinkedIn. I'll tag you there. I'll post it on Facebook.
Facebook, okay.
Yeah, and that'll be it.
Okay.
And I used to...
So my mom can listen. Sorry, Mom, for swearing.
It's literally it's a copy and paste of my Blue Sky.
She will listen. If it's going to be on Facebook,
I have a question.
She will listen, and the first thing she'll say is, "Do you think... Why did you swear? Why did you use
swear?
those?" But yeah,
I swore. I didn't know your mom was listening. I feel bad now. But I do have a question.
I didn't know my mom was listening
enjoy.
until you said it was going to be posted on Facebook, and so now she's going to be listening.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be on Facebook, of course. Shout out to Mark Zuckerberg. I have a question that your mom will like hearing, but I do want to give some love very quickly here to... Who am I going to love? Our newest sponsor is shopkindling.ca. I've been told by a devout listener that I need to nail the D in kindling. Apparently, I've been skipping the D. This is my Toronto accents. Yeah, so shopkindling.ca. You can have discreet free delivery in 1 hour. So you pick your cannabis products. It's completely discreet. So the person who shows up and delivers it might as well be delivering a book or something, right? Maybe they're delivering Hebsy's new book on sports media. Have you got a copy yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Do we need to be discreet about cannabis in 2025?
It depends on your neighbors and it depends on what you do. I don't think you need to be as discreet as you used to be, but there's still some occupations where there's a stigma.
I guess 3 weeks ago it felt like Tylenol was more under fire than cannabis was.
That's true. Hey, do you partake? Or are you strictly a Great Lakes man?
I used to, not anymore. I sometimes right before bed to help me sleep.
Sure. Well, yes,
I've become a capsule guy in my old age, not a puff.
Well, if you whatever you require, it's at shopkindling.ca. So welcome aboard, Kindling. Shout out to Doug Mills. He's at Blue Sky Agency, and I would like the listenership to know that Blue Sky Agency has partnerships with established office furniture brands, and Doug Mills is eager to chat with any and all Toronto Mike listeners who are looking for dynamic and creative work environments. So write him now, Doug, at blueskyagency.ca. I know he's excited about the Arash Madani episode of Toronto Mike. We won't dox you, but you're close enough that you probably know where Ridley Funeral Home is. Am I right, Arash?
I do. 14th
and Lakeshore. They only sell Canadian caskets at Ridley Funeral Home. Brad Jones there sent over a measuring tape for you, Arash.
Thank you, Brad.
Measure Brad Jones. And Brad has a great podcast called Life's Undertaking. And speaking of great podcasts, I want to shout out Nick Iones. He's back. His 2 podcasts are, one is called Building Toronto Skyline, where I learn about the frozen condo industry and more. And the other is called Building Success. He always has great chats. There's one with Keith Stein, where he talks about his entrepreneurial career. He owns the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team. We got to get you out to Christie Pitts next summer for a Leafs game.
I'd love to. That'd be awesome.
I'm going to work with you on that. I'm going to talk to Keith later. We're going to work something out for that. Absolutely. Last but not least, recyclemyelectronics.ca. If you, Arash, have cables, devices, electronics in some closet or drawer, you probably had it there for decades. Don't throw that in the garbage because those chemicals end up in our landfill. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca. Put in your postal code and find out where to drop it off to be properly recycled. I'm going to bet it's Staples near Sherway. That's my guess for you. Okay.
By the way,
yeah.
Congrats on all your sponsors, dude. Like, that's great.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
But you know what I've never had in the history of this program? I've never had a sports betting. I feel like I'm the last person standing.
Talk to your boy Stu Stone.
You'd think, right?
Yeah.
FOTM Hall of Famer Stu Stone. I'm calling you later. We gotta rectify that
there
immediately. Okay, so this question I think your mom's gonna enjoy hearing. It's from, and I hope I pronounce this right. It's a Blue Sky person named Exho Doyle. Exho Doyle. I hope I got that right. And this person writes, has Arash ever had the food from Ian Hanomansing's mom's stall at the Sackville Farmers Market? And
oh, wow, what a question.
Yeah, so we'll leave that. He's got a part B. I'll ask you next. But,
I have not. I've been to Sackville, New Brunswick a few times. Actually, I almost went to Mount A, and I have some friends from Sackville, but no. By the way, shout out to Ian Hanomansing. Talk about an OG.
He listens. He's probably listening right now.
Nice. His son went to Bishop's well after I went there, and I met him when I was back for an alumni event or whatever. But,
I think Ian's very good, and he has promised to visit this basement at some point. And I remember your first visit, I called you Truro Arash, as I recall.
Yes.
So you're a proud Maritimer, as we recall. Everyone, go back to that first episode.
I was expecting a few questions, Mike, coming into today. Mm-hmm. The Sackville Farmers Market was not on my bingo card, so shout out to the listener.
Ex-Ho Doyle.
There you go.
I'm probably butchering that. And Ex-Ho Doyle also says that it was an awesome food stall that Ian Hanomansing's mom had at that market. But what's your guess? A lot of people have been wondering. So games 1 and 2 of this World Series are in Toronto. Who would you like to see throw out the first pitch for those 2 games?
They're starting to run out of guys, aren't they?
But Joe Carter hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, I was going to say Carter's going to be one.
Cito Gaston.
Is there a
Pat Borders?
Dave Steeb in the like? Do you have to have a ring in order to do it?
But he has a ring. He got a 92 ring.
He did get a 92 ring. That's a good one.
I don't think he pitched in that playoffs, but he did get a ring.
Yeah. It's wild. Like you're thinking about some of the Rolodex, some of the guys,
and some people
no
are persona non gratis. Like Kelly Gruber, for example, he's not. I feel like he's.
And Alomar certainly.
Well, Alomar for sure won't be going at a first pitch. Absolutely not. Any thoughts on that? Like we were just told, hey, we did an investigation and he's banned, and and they removed his name. That's disappointing to hear that he may be of a behavior where that would be necessary, considering I regard him as the greatest position player in Toronto Blue Jays history.
You do, huh? I guess. I mean, Hall of Famer, the first to.
Those 5 years. Think about the tools.
Yeah.
You know, what position player? I mean, you can have chats about.
So who's thrown it out so far? Bautista.
Yes.
Donaldson.
Marco Estrada did it last night.
Yeah,
huh?
Bautista, Donaldson, Pilar, Estrada. Those were the 4 home games, right? Yeah.
So we've only gone back to like 2015, 2016 then. We haven't really done the 92, 93 yet, if I'm right.
Yeah, so it'd be Carter. It would be, I guess Borders, because he was the...
Yeah, and I think he's very accessible, and I heard him on CBC Radio, I think it was yesterday, but I feel like he'd be...
Yeah, Cito would be... Cito kind of fits that bill.
I saw Cito at the Joe Carter Classic in the summer, and I saw Joe there as well, and got Cito on the mic, and Cito did some work with the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team at Christie Pitts this year.
Oh, did he really? Yeah. That's awesome.
Like some ambassador work or whatnot. Okay, Hey Ref says... Do you, Arash, have any comments on Vicky's tennis career so far and in the future? What are your thoughts on Vicky?
So I'll say this about Mboko. I have literally been hearing about her, being told about her from the time she was like 14 or 15 years old, just being around the tennis scene in Canada. And, you know, you do the Billie Jean King Cups, you can go to the National Bank Opens, and you're kind of asking around, all right, who are the next ones? And, you know, there's a flicker here, something there, but they're always like, hey, just wait on this Mboko kid. Just wait on this Mboko kid. And you're like, okay, sure. I got nothing else to do. And then this summer, it all kind of came together, and it was wonderful, and it was amazing, and all those things. Now, you would talk about things not being a straight line. I actually sent the screenshot to a friend of mine that I saw on social media the other day. Since beating Osaka, Mboko straight set loss at the U.S. Open, straight set loss in Beijing, straight sets loss in Wuhan, and a straight sets loss in the latest tournament in China.
Doesn't sound great.
It's hard. It is not a straight line. And it was an incredible week for the ages, out of nowhere, landing on the moon, all those things for her, and nothing's being taken away. But like a lot of sports, but tennis especially, you don't pick up where you left off. Just because you did something last week, last match, doesn't mean it's going to continue. There's a long road to go. She is not an unknown anymore. People know who she is. She's got a target on her back because she's one of 1,000 now. Right. And nobody wants to be embarrassed by a kid, so she's going to get everybody's best shot moving forward. And there's, look, the potential is incredible. The sky is the limit. All those things. It's just not going to be. It's just going to take some time.
Hey, Ref has a part B to his question here. Will Tennis Canada ever renovate / upgrade the York facility? He goes on to say he feels it's kind of dumpy, especially as compared to other Masters 1000 events like Cincinnati and Indian Wells.
Well, you can't compare Indian Wells to anything. Let me just say that. Like Larry Ellison, the founder and majority owner of Oracle, has basically turned those grounds into his personal playground. Indian Wells is nicer than Roland Garros. Indian Wells is the player's favorite tournament. All of that. So all you need for Sobeys Stadium / York University to turn into Indian Wells is have somebody with $50 or $60 billion want to just make that a passion project. I do know that Tennis Canada is trying to upgrade its facilities. There's a lot of government things that go into that. There's been talk for a long time in Montreal about a roof situation there. So I don't know where things stand now, but your facility is vital. And it's a good question. Here's what I wonder. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime, Mike. Maybe ever, but who knows? I will preface this. I think it's one of the great sporting events in our country every year. I just wonder how much better it could be if it was more accessible. I just think the location is just so tough. Now, is there a footprint to make that happen? And I think the answer is no. Like I've thought about for a while, and I've chatted with people casually at Tennis Canada, after an event over a Great Lakes or two, about what about the X? You already have a stadium. You have all that space around for grounds, for extra courts, etc. And there was never like official pushback, but it was always like, I don't think the grounds are anywhere near big enough, et cetera, and there's a lot of kind of headaches with it. And now that the Indy has left, gone to Markham,
right?
I think it's kind of like you're seeing why. Like I think there's just so I think that event is so world class, the National Bank Open. I think we're so fortunate to have it in our city and in Montreal. Can the facility be better? Of course. I just wonder, could there be a change in location too? But I just don't know if there's a footprint.
What about the Portlands?
Yeah, I just don't know if the footprint's big enough.
Right.
And just how much is that going to cost too?
Can we wish somebody a happy 66th birthday, Arash?
Sure.
All right, this gentleman.
Hi, I'm George Bell. You listen to Toronto Mike.
Oh, man.
66 years old today. Let's have him throw out all the pitches.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Let's bring George back to throw out the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't win a World Series, obviously. Long gone by then. Not long gone. He went on to Chicago in early 90s, but he was gone by World Series time. But it would be amazing for George Bell to throw out a pitch. I mean, Joe Carter, apparently, Brian Gerstein, my official correspondent, tells me is confirmed for one of the first 2 games.
Who is, sorry?
Joe Carter.
Joe Carter. Here's a question for you. Yeah. And I think he'd bring the house down. And he had the briefest of cup of coffees with the Blue Jays organization. And there is a
Joey Votto.
Vladimir Guerrero Sr.
Yeah, he did have a cup of coffee. He didn't get into a regular season game.
But Vladimir Guerrero so the Blue Jays are not a Toronto story. The Blue Jays are a national story.
Right.
The Blue Jays have fans coast to coast, blah, blah, blah. The numbers at TVA Sport right now in Quebec are huge. I'm told that they had a sideline reporter here in Toronto for the games. They're going to send their crew on the road to call the World Series in person, et cetera, et cetera. Vladimir Guerrero is as identifiable a baseball figure in this country. Now, I don't think they're going to do it, but imagine his son catches the opening pitch.
Would he even come? Like, I feel like he's
sure he'd come.
Okay, I hope so. His
son's playing on the team. Why wouldn't he come?
But I'm surprised he's not here now. Like, aren't you surprised he's not here now? Like, I mean, if my boy was playing in the Game 7 at home in Toronto, I feel like I would, if I were healthy enough, I'd be there.
Maybe he is, and we don't know. Maybe he's got stuff on the go.
He's lying low.
Who knows?
But I like that. That's an inspired choice because when I saw the tears in Vladdy's eyes, I said to my wife, I said, I like it when I'm reminded that they actually care. Like, this isn't just a job and they're not just cashing a big fat check, especially Vladdy's check. It's fatter than yours and mine combined, Arash. That's a fun fact. But when I saw his eyes tearing up that he's going to the World Series, I just hooked that to my veins. And my apologies to your mom, but I fucking love that kind of emotion.
Yeah, it was real.
Yeah, it was authentic. And he had the red eyes. And I mean, Vladdy, this is his team now. You know, I know.
And he's been through a lot of shit. Yeah.
He's still, he's
still young.
Yeah, he's been around forever, and the guy's still young. And look at him now, right? This is, Shohei Ohtani versus Vladdy. Don't bet against these Blue Jays here. I have one last question. So happy birthday to George Bell.
Yes.
My favorite player when I was growing up.
Really? Huh?
I keep the, I'm pointing for the listenership. I'm pointing to a 1986 Blue Jays calendar from Shoppers Drug Mart. And I have that stuck on May 1986 because that was the George Bell month and you get all the George Bell pictures. And I was a big George Bell guy. Absolutely. He's my favorite guy. All fired up and hitting those dingers. Okay. Jake the Snake. This will tie in nicely with what you're doing at CBC, which you can remind us of on our way out here. Jake the Snake, who's a big Ticats fan, as I recall. He likes to hand out the buttons that say Argo suck.
Nice.
Reminds me of going to Maple Leaf Gardens as a kid when they'd have when Harold Ballard owned the Ticats. I remember that very well. Jake the Snake writes, for Canadian university football, what are your thoughts on how to balance the level of play across the nation?
I don't know who has an appetite to do that, Jake. I think that everybody's just in it for themselves in terms of what can we do to win games and what can we do, how can we raise the most money and how can we get the best resources to do it. I don't think there's an appetite for parity. Everyone's just trying to win.
Can you tell us what Jake means? Some of us are embarrassed to say they haven't been following. I did follow when Mario Storino was the quarterback at U of T because I was going there and we won the Vanier Cup that year.
There you go.
That was exciting. What's Jake referring to exactly?
Well, I mean, there are no budgetary rules in Canadian university football. Every school can kind of decide what they want to do. And Laval, people get mad at Laval, and I'm like, no, man, they're just setting the bar, setting the standard. What is the number? On Sunday, they had a home game in Quebec City, Mike. They were undefeated, playing or one loss. Anyway, they're playing their rival, Montreal. It's either Laval Rouge or Montreal Carabin would do it.
Right.
On Sunday, they set a single game regular season attendance record in school history. They put 21,399 people.
The Argos are jealous.
Well, most professional sports franchises in this country are.
Right. That's amazing.
21,399. And so that's a great number for your fan base, but guess what else it is? It's revenue.
Right.
And so if I'm Laval and you know, insert name of school in the GTA is drawing friends and family, and Laval's, you know, bringing in $1 million a game in revenue. Why we're excelling at what we're doing here. We don't care what you're doing. We're going to do things at a high level. So I get that Jake wants there to be parity, but I guess the answer to your question is, Jake, every single athletic department has to decide, do we want to make success, winning, budgets, fundraising, alumni support, philanthropy, a priority or not? And that's how you're going to get it.
I have a question I don't fully understand because I'm not as big a tennis head as I should be, Arash.
Okay.
But Raptors devotee is asking about Felix, who is making a late run to make Turin. The top 8 players qualify for this end of season tournament.
Yeah.
I guess he wants to see Felix there because he's a dangerous indoor hardcourt player. Will he be there? I'm only learning about this right now. I have to say I'm out of the loop on what's happening in Turin. But
he just won Brussels this week. I'm not sure what the race looks like right now. Obviously, the semifinal run in New York was huge for him. Yeah, and he does play well at the end of the season. I think he's won titles in Stockholm before and a couple other places. So it'd be good for Felix's career, but man, the tennis calendar is just too long, and everybody's talking about it now.
Arash, I hope we don't have to wait another 10 years to get you back in this basement. And I hope we get you on the mics November 29th at TMLX 21. Come for the Palma Pasta, stay for the real talk.
Appreciate it, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I hope you know.
Are these mine? The Great Lakes Brewery mine?
The beer, of course, is yours.
Yes.
I've got the lasagna in my freezer.
Okay.
I'll get that. We'll take our photo by Toronto Tree. And I was going to say you're in good company when it comes to people who got a tap on the shoulder from either Bell Media or Rogers, as you did. Many a great broadcaster got that tap. So, you know, keep on keeping on. There's life after Sportsnet. I'm glad to hear you got a bunch of things brewing, and I look forward to reading about all the different things you'll be doing over the next few decades.
I guess if you're going to be doing that, I should get on Blue Sky, huh?
Well, if you want me to know what's going on. Otherwise, I just have to invite you over and then find out when I ask you. This was great. Thank you so much. What kind of music does Arash Madani listen to in his spare time here? Late-breaking question. Late-breaking story on the CBC.
There you go. There you go.
What are your...
shoot, the Hip remain undefeated, don't they?
Bring out my vinyl road apples for you here, Rash. Here you go. I don't have no arguments there. Big Hip head here. So do you like the 90s alt-rock from Canada? What exactly...
Well, the Hip kind of... there's a special shelf for them. Phantom Power was actually my favorite album.
Phantom Power was a great album, but maybe it's my age speaking here. I'm a big Up to Here man, and I like Road Apples. So maybe it's because I need to go back to the early 90s when the Jays were winning World Series. And guess what? We're doing it again, Arash. Go Jays, go. Perfect timing on your part. And that brings us to the end of our 1,784th show. Go to TorontoMike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. You can follow Arash on the app formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. What a beautiful name. Much love to all who made this possible. That is Great Lakes Brewery. Arash is a big fan. Palma Pasta. They're hosting us for TMLX 21 on November 29. Nick Ianni's. Kindling. Go to shopkindling.ca, make an order now, and in less than an hour it'll be at your door. RecycleMyElectronics.ca, Blue Sky Agency, and Ridley Funeral Home. See you all. I got to go to my calendar, Arash. I'm not a professional like you. Who's my next guest on Toronto Mike? Oh, I'm excited about this. John Kastner. He was the singer and founder of a Montreal band known as the Doughboys. I've wanted to talk to John for a long time. It'll be a Doughboys episode of Toronto Mike that's happening tomorrow. Alan Zweig on Thursday. See you all then.